Yes, it is by design. Thanks, Scott, very much. It is by design that we have Kate McDermott, our friend, and a wonderful participant in our community. Kate McDermott is the James Beard Award finalist, author, and the creator of Art of the Pie, a home baker and cook who champions the time-honored craft of artisan pie making. Since 2008, Kate has taught over 5,000 people to make homemade pie in her popular and sold out workshops across the country and in Europe, and in her virtual workshops. She is the author of The Art of Pie, a practical guide to homemade fillings, crusts, and life. Home Cooking with Kate McDermott, and her newest book, Pie Camp, the skills you need to make any pie you want. Known as the piechiatrist, pie whisperer, and pie rock star, Kate has been featured in the New York Times, Washington Post, Oprah, NPR, and many more publications. She lives at Pie Cottage, her home on the north coast of Washington State, where she gardens, cooks, bakes, writes, and tends her wood stove. You can read more about her at kate@artofthepie.com. But more importantly, Kate is a friend, but she is one of the people who has been able to best navigate the tumultuous times of COVID. So as we go into this holiday season, I am feeling the gratitude, and I have certainly felt it from her, at her ability to make change and turn about in these times. So please welcome Kate McDermott.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Great. Well, welcome to Pie Cottage. I'm right over here on the west side by the what was the old Skills Center, which it's now the Port Angelo School District. And I wanted to, first of all, tell you that there's so many different things that have happened in our lives, and you never know what is going to happen. From day to day, from year to year, I could never have imagined that, first of all, that I would be a teacher of pie making, make my living from that, and then have that blossom into writing books. Receiving a James Beard nomination is akin to receiving an Oscar nomination. It is right up there with an Oscar nomination. And so to be able to say that, you know, I'm a James Beard nominee is something that is just like an over-the-top amazing thing. But also, you know, from the teaching in person classes, I'm going to show you some pictures of that, to the writing. I'm going to show you what a photo shoot, a little bit of a photo shoot is like. I'm going to show you a few pictures of that. And then pivoting to a virtual world when it felt like my world, everything that I did completely, as for all of us, just kind of stood on its ear. And I said, well, what do I do now? So I'll get to that in a moment. But first I want to show you what, I have some pictures queued up here of what this was like pre-COVID. So I'm just going to share a screen with you really quickly here. So I think you can see this, I hope. Yes. Okay, so this is in front of my house. This is, you know, what was a usual thing, you know, probably weekly, sometimes a couple times a week on the weekends, people would come and join me for pie making classes. This is inside. These are people from all over North America and all over, basically all over the world have come to our town. And first of all, I'm, you know, so proud to be a, you know, kind of like an ambassador for our town, to say, you know, come out here. This is amazing out here. And people come and they say, I had no idea. This is a large class that was over in Carnation, Washington, but this is not unusual to have a class of this size or a class of this size. But then This is a class that was down in Austin. Then what happened is I switched to this. And how did I get here? Of teaching people that were not only coming here to my kitchen, but I am coming to their kitchens. As you can see right here, this woman right here, this is a woman who was in Dubai, who came to Pie Camp. There are people in this group. This is the first group that we had that were from Canada, from South America, from Dubai. There were some from Europe, and everybody was making pie here in my kitchen, and I am in theirs. One of the things that was so amazing to me, oopsie, is that this type of thing, I can be in their kitchens with them. Those are just a few. Stop this share. And working with them to find out what their particular needs are for their environment, for their altitude, things that I could never, ever have imagined. When someone comes to take an Art of the Pie class, it's, you know, it's expected, you know, you're going to learn how to make pie. You're gonna, it's gonna be fun and easy. And then perhaps you get home and you say, oh my God, well, it worked at sea level. What happens if I am at 8,000 feet? And it's a completely different thing. Different temperatures, different time things, different, whole different things are happening. And what the silver lining, one of the silver linings for me teaching virtually is I could be in your kitchen with you at whatever altitude you are at, troubleshooting with 25 other people watching to see and learning at the same time. This is something that I could never have anticipated. But prior to this, of how did I get there? Well, COVID hits, and I went from having a 6-figure pie making business to between the months of January of 2020 and the end of April of 2020, my combined income was $100. And I thought, well, I need to do something. What am I going to do here to figure this out? And I'm relatively tech savvy, having worked creating a website, doing the PR and social media for Art of the Pie. I'm a one-woman show, but dealing with how do I get the interface of an Eventbrite ticket selling machine to interface with Zoom, and what is a ring light? I had no idea. And how many cameras do I have? And how do I have the camera tilted over the top of the baking table, which, you know, my studio, you're looking at it right back there. You're looking at it right back there. You can see my ring light over to this way, and I have a, you know, prep table. There'll be, everything is right there. So this all seemed like, oh, it can't be that hard. It can't be that hard. But I kept, it was so frustrating because I couldn't get things to work. And I was just petrified, like, you know, well, okay, that was a nice gig that I did since 2008, time to figure out something else, perhaps. What's that going to be? And what I did was to ask for help. Asking for help is one of the most important things that one can ever learn to do. And it is one of the hardest things, as you probably know. Asking for help is hard because we want to be able to do everything ourselves and to help others. But asking for help for yourself is a big thing. So when I couldn't figure this out, I sent out an email to 2,500 people that were on the mailing list and following, and also on my blog, and said, I need help. I can't figure this out. And offers of help came pouring in. Absolutely amazing. I had to, kind of weed through what was what was going to be the appropriate one for me, who was going to be able to help me the best, and have, exactly the skill set that I needed. And I was connected. One of the offers was a woman who had taken a pie class from me in Chicago contacted me, and she said, "I think my husband can help you." And he was the head of a company called web.com, and was able to walk me through what I needed and to connect me with someone who they had to lay off. And that person was able to then take it further and basically midwife me through every single step, from how many pictures do I need to put up, where, how do I set up this Zoom thing? How do I set up the Eventbrite thing? And then we got all that set up, and then we set the ticket date, and it went live. And I was petrified that as every time when I said an event that's going to go live, I'm like, oh, for the tickets, whether it's an in-person thing or as it was in the past, or this new world. This is my first now. This is going to be May of 2020, my first foray into the virtual world. And I thought that I was late. I actually wrote a piece about this that was published and said, am I too late? Am I too late for the virtual world? That was just May of 2020. So we published the event, and it sold out in 3 minutes, which was just mind blowing. My phone was going like ding, 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 and everything sold out. So I thought, okay, this is great. Well, now it's going to happen. And the first class, the first camp, with all camps and all sessions, along with teaching pie making, is community building. And community building in the virtual world is a challenge because we're not in the same room. We are all over the place, and we can choose to interact or not. And I wanted to be able to do this. So it was astounding to me that over a 3-day period, it was the first virtual pie camp was, they are like 11 hours of instruction over a 3-day period. And I modeled it on the 3 and 4 day pie camps, the in-person pie camps that I did. We gathered the first night. We had a meet and greet. Everybody came with, a little something, and we talked about who we were, where we were from, what we hoped to gain from this, and then we started the next day. And over that course of time, now doing this now for 1.5 years, I have kind of shaped it so that there's my camera and my microphone are always on, even when we have a break, so that if you have a question and I'm cleaning my kitchen or washing my floor, I will hear, Kate, I have a question about, can I use honey in the pie instead of, can I do this with this fruit or that fruit? Or is this pie pan okay if I do that? Or it looks like my pie might be getting too brown. What should I do now? And everybody then kind of is like, we're listening. And this is, by the time that our camp finished on a Sunday afternoon, everybody was happy, showing their pies, as in that picture that I showed you, and also wanted to do more. They wanted more. And this is, for any teacher, if you have inspired your participants to want more and to continue to make or do whatever it is that they're doing, I feel that is successful. So I did more. So what I offered then was a continuation of community building by a once a month bake and chat. and if you are a graduate of the virtual pie camps, once a month on a Saturday morning, we get together for 2 hours, and you can have a mug of coffee. You could be asking questions. You can, thank you. You can be baking or not. And over the year and a half that I have done this, we've added more people in with each of the camps, but we have become a community of friends. And some of these people, out of that, not only do we have the Bacon Chat, we now have a Pie Camp book club, which is extraordinary. In that we have our first book that we read was one of the books by Ruth Reichel, who was the last editor of Gourmet magazine. And because she was a personal friend, she came to our book club. And this is just an amazing thing to share now with people that I feel I see them more, these people virtually, than I see people in town here. I did see Kathy the other day. She stopped by, which was lovely. And I don't know if you know that Kathy lives in the house that I built. So I recognize right where you are. So this is, all of this is such an unexpected blessing that I can continue to teach. I can continue to build community. And hopefully, not only will I be able to, at some point, open the door and have people come back here, but also that they will be coming to, once again, to our beautiful community. One of the things that I always say at the beginning of any event that I do is I identify who I am. I'm Kate McDermott. Welcome to Pie Cottage. I am in Port Angeles, Washington, on the north coast of the Olympic Peninsula. And then to define it further of where we are, I say I am right across from Victoria, British Columbia, and I can see Canada from my house. And this is, people will say, there's a west of Seattle. They had no idea. So not only am I trying to continue to be an ambassador of pie, but also for our community. And, hopefully as we open up more, they will be coming to visit us out here. Pie camps have always had times where people will be coming. I always make sure that there is at least one afternoon that we walk into town and my pie campers leave their dollars here, which is a nice thing to be doing for our community. And some of them have come back. I want to show you one picture on here, if I can, of one family. I'll put this up here on the share screen. This family right here is a family from Chicago, and I had come to Chicago to teach. They had, actually Annie, who was down here at the bottom, and her husband Michael, they had first come out here to a individual class in 2012, October of 2012. Then I went back to Chicago and taught back there. And then they brought their entire family out and bought out an entire pie camp. And it was one of the funnest, it was one of the funnest camps I have ever had. And these folks love coming out here. And they very much hope that at some point they can buy some property out here and build a family vacation home for all of their various family coming. And I just think that is just such a wonderful thing. This is the power of pie. It's not me, it's not Pie Camp, it's the power of pie and our beautiful area that brings people here. So let me go on to a little something else. Also, I wanted to make sure that we leave some time for questions if you have some, because I love questions. The next thing I wanted to show you is what a photo shoot looks like. So can you see this screen right here with this? So what I see here on mine is, this is what it looks like in a photo shoot. I actually sleep, I go to New York, I'm there for a week. I arrive on a Sunday night. I have with me 8 pounds of pie dough already made in discs. And if I don't, I'm already behind. And then we start shooting on Monday and we shoot straight through until Friday. I sleep in the studio. These are some of the pictures from, this is Andrew Scrivani. He is here, who has done the photography work for all 3 of the books. He has been a New York Times, one of the main New York Times food contributors, photo contributors for many, many years. This is his wife, who occasionally will come in as a photo stylist. She was the visual director for the New York Times, and now she is the video director for the New Yorker. An amazing woman, and so fortunate to have them work on the projects that we work on together. It's doing the photography, it's very physical. It's there's so much detail involved with it. We will look at a setup on there and say, what is the story? What is the story that is being told here? And if there's no story, you know, we work on it until we've got it right. Here she is looking at over the top of where this is going to be. And these shoots go on for hours. And at the end of it, I'm like, I am, after 5 days of intensity, we all gathered. And this is, if you do have the book Pie Camp, you'll see this disc, this little marquee of dough, of baked dough, with these little beads of like marquee lights of dough baked. And then I did this stencil of Pie Camp on top of it. And we took that and we all broke it at the end of the shoot and ate it. And it was just kind of a nice way to close out our time together. So it's very, very, very intense. Andrew has also come out here. My front bedroom becomes the Andrew Scrivani Photo Studio West, the front room in my house. I clear everything out of there. The only thing that will be in there is a small table on the south facing window. And he calls our light here magic light.
How do you read the paper?
He calls it magic light. And he has, I have been
Wait, yes, I have. Yes.
in a number of presentations where he has asked if, you know, I would come and speak in a photo presentation, a class that he's doing on an international level. And he always mentions the incredible light that he has for photography in Port Angeles here. So, you know, that's another, just another wonderful thing that I just love. So I think that what COVID has taught me is that it's okay to be teaching in my slippers, which I'm wondering how many of you are in your slippers today. And I see those, Scott. Okay. And that we can, it will never be the same as standing around the table together. It will never be the same as that, as standing around the baking counter together. There is something about that that is unlike anything else. But there are ways that we still can create community and feel that connection with our brothers and sisters across the globe, coming together to make something as inclusive that includes everyone in this pie pan. And that is something that I am so proud of being able to, and relieved that I can still be able to do. And I hope that I can for many, many years. My life, my commute used to be SeaTac. I was on the road 5 months of the year, and my commute was SeaTac. So for me, I'm a home girl. I love to be home. I love to putz around. I love to be in my kitchen. I love sharing with others. So this is now a blending of what is the best possible outcome for me at this time, that I can teach in my slippers, I can be at my home, and I can share what I love. One of the things I love to do most, which is to help you to make good food to share with others and pass on a craft that hopefully you will then pass on to more generations, and to bring people to our beautiful town when we totally open it up and it's safe. That's what I do. So I'm wondering if you have any questions for me.
Kate, that was incredible. You really delivered, and I love the message of sharing with your community. Can you tell us the facet of this pivot that was the most difficult for you, and what came out of it?
Yeah, I would say that the absolute fear of not having an internet connection. The hardest part was making sure I had the right equipment, I suppose. And well, I've had hard and humorous moments. So, for example, it is very important when you're using a computer for broadcasting to make sure that your power cord is plugged into the computer. Because very quickly you can, it's like, oh my goodness, it just, fortunately I had a second camera going, but my laptop just went, okay. And it's like, okay, another one that was unusual is something I never could have predicted happening. Now we live in a very lovely climate, never gets really, really too Arctic frigid, although, sometimes we do have some, and it doesn't get, up until our heat bubble, it didn't ever get really, really hot. That's all, everything is everything is up for grabs now of what will happen next. I don't think any of us really know. But what I didn't know is if you have your phone tilted over over a heated surface. So on my table back there, I was making the curd for a lemon meringue pie, teaching that. And my phone is tilted over the top. And all of a sudden, my phone goes off and says, temperature's too high. Do you need 911? And I did not realize that your phone, if it gets too hot, will actually flip off, and it won't work. So you have to let it cool down. So what I learned is, I have to have it away, tilted at a certain angle, so that it doesn't get too hot, which probably is a good thing for all of us. Don't get too hot, don't get too cold, kind of like, chill, make sure you're relaxed and chill. And I think also that is a really good thing that I continue to learn through virtual teaching is, I'll make it through somehow. I will make it through somehow. And also another thing is making sure that if my directions say, here are the ingredients you need, that I actually use the ingredients that I've asked people. So I've had moments where somebody in a class, thank God they're there, they'll say, one class I was teaching, there was a very special ingredient I said, well, you really need to have this. You can do it without, but it's really nice if you have it. So people go all out of their way to find this thing. And then we're putting the stuff in and somebody says, well, Kate, when are we going to put that in? I said, oh my God, completely forgot. So, so they can also see that, I'm human, I forget. And also in cooking and baking, that usually you can improvise and make it work anyway, which we did.
So
I have
we
a question.
Yeah.
Hey, go ahead.
I have two questions actually. When you're telling people where we are, do you ever use the hand demonstration? This is the state of Washington and we're out here on the thumb.
I haven't quite used that one, but Tyler, that is an excellent suggestion because, here's Puget Sound down here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent.
It works pretty good.
Yeah. Thank you. I'll tell them that my friend Tyler taught me this.
All right. My next question is when you're on Zoom, how do you fill the time while the pie is baking?
Oh my God. So there's two things. If usually my participants are full of questions. There's no shortage of, during that time, we get through 11 hours and they're saying, some of them are in tears that we are leaving, that they want. So, but also if it is a class where the bake is going to go longer, so that I do individual virtual classes also. I teach them I produce some, and then I also teach for the 92nd Street Y in New York City. And on those classes, they're very short. Their classes are 75-minute classes. And so I'm doing a class for them on Tuesday for a pumpkin pie. If any of you want to come, they have like the best price in town going. It's like to take one of the classes, it's $30. So it's a great deal. Anyway, we're making a pumpkin pie and it'll be a version of one. But if it's a baked pie, I'll say on there, this bake may finish after our class is over. What I also do is I rehearse my pie, just like any good performer, because I was a professional musician before. You're going to rehearse. I make my pie or whatever it is that I'm sharing that day before. So at the beginning of class, you're going to see what it is that is going to be the completed thing. And that sometimes can mean that basically you're doing things backwards. So I'm pulling a pie out of the oven at the beginning of class and saying, here's what you're going to see at the end of our class. Here's the finished product. Here it is. Look for these signs. Look for the steaming coming through the vent. Can you see some bubbling? And then I say, now, let's see. These are the steps we're going to take to get there. And then we start at the beginning.
Okay.
And then we also, many times what people will do is then put the pictures of their pies up on Instagram and tag me.
That's a good idea. Who eats all these pies that you're cooking for your class?
I have
I was trying to get a foot into the door.
I have a little trap line.
Yeah.
He's got little boys he wants to give pies.
I have a very happy vet. Things go down to Port Booker News on occasion. People stop by. And, one of the other things, I just wrote I'm now publishing a newsletter on Substack. And one of the things that I just wrote, I just published one last night that was called, it's kind of like an ABC of pie for pre-planning for Thanksgiving. And so one of the things I said here is, if your day, L is for love, if your day finds you alone for Thanksgiving or any day, give and receive love by volunteering at a shelter, taking a freshly made pie to your local fire station, or leaving one for a neighbor who may be housebound.
Oh, very good. Well, Kate, you're a huge blessing to our community. You make us all very proud to be with you. You're doing a fantastic job. You're in your own element, and you're not only doing great things in the pie business, but broadcasting our community. And we're very proud of you. And
Thank you very, very much. It's my honor to be here.
All of it. It's always a pleasure to hear you talk. You can say as you're doing your presentation, everybody's smiling, because you're a joy to be around too. So, for the holiday season, Kate's books are incredible. And if you want to go, if you got to figure out how to make pumpkin pie, bookstore and others, they're selling them. So Kate has fantastic books out there. Go ahead and buy it, and so you can get your pumpkin pie or Christmas pies for that matter. So next week is Thanksgiving. We won't have a meeting 1 week from today. We'll pick up the following week, and then that'll be the last meeting before our Christmas social. So I wish everybody a great Thanksgiving, and thank you for joining this morning, and thanks for Kate for joining us. And we hope you enjoy your turkey. So I'll stay on. If anybody has more questions for Kate, we can carry on.